advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching the Business Portal, your gateway to business trends and opportunities. And good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen, Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, and the rest of the world. I'm Marybeth, Nave, and you are watching The Workplace, where we show you how to make the most out of your profession and give you the latest career trends to stay ahead of the corporate game. Now, for those of you who are watching and you have this question about you've been having a job for the last, past years of your life, and all of a sudden you need to find a new job, or, you were just let go. A lot of these questions have been requested or even sent to me by a lot of our viewers. Now, what about for those of you who have been in a job for the number of years for quite some time and you want to move on but you don't know where to go? So you know what? There are three things that I learned from our very special guest today. It's either find a new job, or you start up a business, or it's time to actually say goodbye and retire. So you know what? Our special guest today has dedicated the latter part of his life to actually help people. It's his passion to help a lot of people, help that, find a new opportunity or a different perspective in life, especially if you have been let go by the company that you've been loyal to for the past so many years. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to introduce to all of you the Managing Director of LHHDBM, who has been around the globe, touring different countries, helping and changing the lives of so many people. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to The Workplace, Mr. Vicente Kilayko. Good morning, Sir Vicente.
Morning, Marybeth. Call me Binky.
Binky.
Everyone calls me Binky.
All right.
Thank you.
So I will call you Binky, and all of our viewers will start calling you Binky. So you know what, Binky, thank you so very much for making time and being here in The Workplace.
Thank you also for inviting me over to GNN. It's a pleasure and a privilege.
Thank you so much. It was what do you call this? When I bumped into you with the People Management Association event, and I said I really have to guest you because the knowledge, the skills that you have garnered throughout the years is very priceless and valuable. So I'd like to ask you, let's start off with, can you tell us about LHHDBM and how you became a part of this company?
Okay, LHHDBM is a talent mobility company. We help...
talent mobility, I like that term.
That's the term we use now. It's in fact the latest, let's say, way of presenting this company, and it's new. In the sense that, we help connect people to jobs. So it's really talent mobility. But we also help people perform the best they can as part of coaching. And that's another part of the business that we do, or talent development, if you like. So that's who LHHDBM is globally.
And what it does.
By the way, LHHDBM are all names of people. It's Lee Hecht Harrison.
Lee Hecht Harrison.
And DBM is Drake, Beam, and Maureen. No? Drake, Beam, Maureen. Those are names of people. LHHDBM is now the global name for the company, except that when they acquired DBM. But here in Asia, we continue to co-brand, if you like, as LHHDBM. That's why I had to give you a little problem by having this very long name of Lee Hecht Harrison, Drake B. Maureen. But that's who we are. In the Philippines, we started out here in 2001, and we've really been focused to what is known as CTS, or Career Transition Services. A more common name is Outplacement. What do we do? When companies make a change, and they have to make a change, that's why the title is The People Side to Change.
Right.
When companies have to make a change, the business situation is never static. It's always dynamic. So you have acquisitions, you have mergers.
Yes.
You even have things of different product categories disappearing, product categories coming into the picture. Their departments are being outsourced. all of this allows the business or companies to be able to be competitive. But in all these changes, something that is sometimes forgotten are people. When you make this change, people are affected. And when you say people, employees, not just the employees, but I guess the families are affected. So it's really has a large impact. Now, in many of the more advanced countries, the US, Japan, Europe, when companies make a change, they accept that it's not the fault of the people. It's not the fault of the person who is... When you have a merger, for example, you cannot have two finance directors. One has to go.
Right.
Or even two presidents. So they accept that it's not the fault of people, or the fault of the people that when changes happen. Therefore, they engage companies like LHHDBM to help these people who are affected by the change move on. And this is where you mentioned moving on is finding another job, starting a business, or retiring.
Well, actually, you mentioned that.
Yeah, yeah.
I just,
but that's the next step. And so companies take it upon themselves. I cannot mention all the name of companies because of confidentiality that's involved.
No
I can mention those that have publicly mentioned our name.
Okay.
For example, when Intel had a major restructuring here in the country, over 3,000 to 5,000 employees were involved, and we were part of that. And there were other companies that when they made the change, they engaged us. And you'd be surprised, many multinationals now do this. They really engage our services now. For the last, 2001 until now, that's what, 12 years, for example. For more than 10 years, it has always been multinationals that would engage our services. Remember, when you lay off or when there's a major restructuring and you engage our services, it is an additional cost.
Right.
You pay the people the right, whatever is due to them.
There's separation pay.
Plus, you engage us. So it's always been, there's always people were always saying, well, you're more expensive. But let me tell you now, in the last 2 years, major Philippine companies have started to engage our services. These are not multinationals, but really local companies have engaged our services. And we're proud of that. We're proud of the fact that Filipino companies now have taken upon themselves to say, it's not your fault. Employees, it's not your fault that the change has to happen. We will help you.
Okay, so let me get this straight. LHHDBM, basically, for example, Company A will have a merger and acquisition with Company B, let's just example. Company A would say, oh no, I have to let go of, let's say, 100 employees. And because they have to combine with Company B, and these 100 people will have to go because that's how it is in merger and acquisitions. It's going to be a restructuring of the whole program. How do you guys come in? You come into the picture, and who do you help out? The company or the people who were let go and left up in the air?
That's a good question. LHHDBM helps both.
Okay.
We say we help both the company and the people. Now, when do we come into the picture? We normally, for many companies, they engage us even before, during the planning stages. So they will talk to us already that, hey, we're about to do this. I will tell one story of a company that was going to close down their Philippine operation. The people here in the Philippines didn't even know. They flew in from Hong Kong.
Okay.
They came and met with us, and they left without even seeing. But they made all the preparation. So when are we engaged? We're engaged
From the
right
onset.
at the start, right at the planning services.
Okay.
That's where we are able to give advice on how best to do these things. Based on all the experiences, we have checklists, all those things. As LHHDBM, we've done this. This is part of the business of us globally. Now, what are some of the things we do? One of the things we do is we do separation notification training, or we train the people or the managers, not the HR, we say.
The managers of the people who are supposed to be let go?
Correct. The people who will notify.
Ouch.
The people who will, in fact, give the message.
The sad news.
Yes, because it's not. It's easy. It's easy to hire. It's nice to hire, but when you have to let go, we have to let go sometimes people you know.
Exactly.
No?
You've worked with for so many years.
It really is a very emotional exercise doing
It's like
that.
a breakup.
Yeah. So we train these people how to do it. How to do it, what to say, what are the structures. We teach them how to react to the, when the people react, how do they respond to that, to all that. So we call that separation notification training.
So basically, you're also letting people, these managers who have to send the message out, to be more human, how to be gentle,
Correct.
how to be more empathizing, not just, okay, here's your note, goodbye,
Yes,
nothing like that.
exactly. We help them treat their people with respect, because
Okay.
that is important. You really have to respect the person that you're letting go. It's not his or her fault. We also we help them protect the image of the company. That's why we work with both sides. We help protect the image of the company. Now, that's one, separation notification training. On the day itself, we call this notification day
Doomsday.
or tell day.
Okay. For
Well-
me, I just I thought about it. It's doomsday.
Well,
Okay.
put it this way. On the day itself, we are also there.
All right.
We are asked to come. If the person is being notified in one room, we are in another room, which is private. We request for this to be private. What happens is after the person is notified, I'm sorry, but effective today, you no longer have a job, and so forth, so on. At the end of that process, they will say, by the way, we've engaged LHH DBM. They're in another room. They're career consultants. We'd like you to meet them. So
Yeah.
they come to us all shocked, sometimes flush red, sometimes
Right.
crying, sometimes
Angry.
angry.
Yes.
They come to us. What do we do?
This
we
sounds
take-
like a George Clooney movie.
Exactly,
This
up in
this
the air.
was yes, up in the
Yeah,
air, exactly.
but we don't let go. There's other people let go. But it's our role to catch this person right away. The door has been closed for that person.
But you open
What we do, a little
gate.
window. We
Oh.
open a little window at the back to show to that person. So what are the things we do? First, we talk to the person. It's really, it's an emotional thing. Being let go is very emotional. What is our objective? Our objective is to change it from an emotion focus to a problem focus. If you're mad, if you're really in shock, you can't do much. But if you have a problem, I don't have a job, I can help you. So we try to move that person, talking to that person, from an emotion focus to a problem focus.
Okay.
You have a problem, you don't have a job. But if you come to me and say you're mad, and you continue to be mad, that is very difficult.
You
we
go
can-
to either a psychologist or
Well,
a friend or
well,
whoever you
you
like
really
to.
need to calm down.
Right.
Once you have a problem, we can help you. In fact,
You can provide a solution.
oftentimes, what we tell the person, or what that person remembers, is that we're there and tell the person, we're here to help you. That's all they recall. So if you notice, in this process,
It is a transition.
it's part of a transition, but the company also doesn't allow the person time to be just with himself or herself. In other words, as soon as he's notified, there's a support system right away, which is important. Because a person who doesn't feel any support or nobody's helping sometimes reacts in different ways. But here, we take care of the person. Come and see us tomorrow, we will help you. They come to us the next day, the whole process starts now. We will talk to them. There are many ways. There are individual programs or group programs. But the entire process is you start the person through with a roadmap so that the person begins to see the way forward. You see, when you lose a job, as perhaps some of the people that are watching us now,
Yes.
you lose a structure. You don't know what to do.
Because that's been part of your life for so many
For
years
many
already.
and losing a job means you're just sitting there, and for some maybe they were just watching the show right now. But the whole idea is you put structure into it. That's why it's not as if this is we put something. That's why there's a manual to this. There are certain milestones, and I'll explain this a bit. We put structure so that the person has a way to move forward. You see, when you lose a job, to finding another job
That's gonna
is a
be
big step.
It is,
It's a
it
very
is.
big step. So what does LHH DBM do? we actually break it up into small steps. We call
Baby
milestones.
steps.
Mini steps.
Okay.
Which you can do. What's the first mini step, for example? Well, one of them is to come up with your personal vision. What is it that you really want to do? In fact, that's a very important next component when you lose a job. Because for a young lady like yourself, starting out in the workplace, you really aspire for promotion, for career.
For growth.
However, we have seen this many times, especially for the women. At the age of, let's say, when they get married, okay, they get married about late 20s, for example, they start having children.
Their goals change.
Their goals change. Or their life goals change. There's a change. You would want to be home by 6 in the evening because you want to tutor your children.
You have to pick them up from school.
Those things come into play.
Right.
So what happens? When you're in the company and these things are happening, it's as if the water is boiling but you're still there. You don't really realize. No? These things are part of it, so sometimes you really have to move your schedule. But when you are in transition, and that's what we normally say when you lose a job, you are in transition, you have an opportunity to step back and look at your life. Hey, my life goal is this. Therefore, what happens now? You start looking for jobs that are closer to home, maybe, or jobs that will allow you to be home by 6 o'clock. So it changes your entire, it's a life goal that you change. We are called career consultants, but sometimes we help as well with that life part, life coach, if you like.
Especially with creating a personal goal now.
Correct,
and
yes.
the visioning of
Yes.
where you really want to take yourself.
So those small steps, we help them with that. We help them with their resume. We help them with how to do their job search. Step by step, as you move forward, before you realize it, you start getting interviews from your resume. Before you know it, you get a job offer and a job. So instead of having this one big leap to finding another job, what you do is you break it into small parts, we call milestones, which allow you to move forward. That's what we do. That's the roadmap that we do.
Wow. Because you know what, when you just described it that way, I just, remember the flashback, especially after college, when I started applying to different companies. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. Even if you get good grades, you come from a really great university, what the employees or employers would look at are your skills. And if you don't know how to communicate that, I mean, the job hunting process on its own is taxing already. And when you were explaining to me, oh my gosh, you are also working, let's say you've invested 10, 15 years of your life to one company. And you always look at, I'm going to remain here until, the day I have to retire. But most people don't get to that age because the company will have to say goodbye to a whole number. And then now when you are out of a job, you're going to start looking back, oh no, will I have to job hunt again? And going through that process is also, it's not just taxing, but it's emotionally tiring. And it can be very, very discouraging for a lot of people who already had an awful experience finding a job the first place.
Yeah.
And you know what? This is a great leap forward as well. That there is a company that you said LHHDBM, and you even mentioned that we had a problem with the names. You know what? If there are more people with, if you have all the names in the alphabet until Z, because more people are a part of it, to help, even our CarGen will allow it. I'm gonna make those, those names appear because we need a lot of people who would care about others and help in finding yet the next step to life.
Thank you, Marybeth. But let me just be very, very clear. LHHDBM is engaged by the company making the change.
Okay.
We do not, part of outplacement is the person affected by the change doesn't come to us and say, can you help me?
Okay.
In other words, we as LHHDBM only work with
the company.
So that's the difference between, let's say, a career consulting group
Firm, right.
whereas an outplacement company like ourselves. Remember, companies that engage us, we have a lot of global contracts, regional and local contracts. Global contracts because companies in the world recognize that there is a need to help people whenever they make a change. So we have a lot of global contracts. which are negotiated in the home countries. So that's how companies work now. That's how major companies work now. They engage us globally. We also have a global reporting that we need to do and all that. Because as a global company, as LHH DBM, we have our own system that I can check, for example, what's happening in Hong Kong. I can check what's happening in Germany. All of that, we have a globalized system that really tells me what's happening. So
And I guess
that.
we're very, very lucky that we have you on this show, because I can start asking you all these questions
Thank
to
you.
help, the people's side to change on, for example, if they've been let go already and they're watching this show. I'll be asking you all those questions. We will just take a quick break. For those of you who are tuned in, that is what LHH DBM is all about. But you know what? We have him as an expert, so we can ask you all the questions, and my inbox is full because of all the text messages that I am receiving right now. So you better stay tuned. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this break.